We knew the holidays were a big time in the NFL, but somehow Thanksgiving and Christmas got even more games.
Oh, the NFL continuing its quest for world domination. This year, added to the international slate, our friends in Australia.
The NFL schedule is here. We'll break down the path to the Super Bowl on Sunday Scaries with Bucks McGee.
Oh, yeah. Schedule release day. Here we go, folks. The true beginning of it all. We get to find out where our teams are going, when we're staying home, and who knows what's going to happen.
My instant hot take right off the bat, Bucks McGee, is with this Daniel Jones injury to start the season, the NFL did not treat us kindly at the top of the schedule.
I swear, man. You swear the NFL's got it out for Indianapolis, but hey, you never know. The first four games of the season are always the litmus test. You figure it out, and who knows? You never know what can happen.
Yeah. Well, it's the one thing that you've been predicting for a long time is that the NFL is eventually going to put a franchise overseas. So, I mean, this makes that theory much more valid as they went in big time, even more than they have in the past with the amount of international games on the schedule.
At first I thought the international games were cool. I was like, all right, spread the game a little bit. Now I'm like, I'm over it. I really am. I understand the fans all over the world, but really, Australia. Now we're going to Australia, and it's just at this point, just put a team in London. Let's just get it going. Let's just get it going.
The Australia one is funny to me because of the international dateline. So it's a Thursday night game to us. It's going to be what, Friday morning to them?
Yeah, Friday morning football. Sooner or later, it's going to happen here anyways. We
Yeah.
figure so. Why not? Why not? Try it out somewhere else. But the NFL is they're trying to grow the game. They're trying to follow footsteps of the NBA and baseball to a point. So now they said, all right, Australia, let's see what we can do.
The timing of the Australia game is going to be the closest thing we've had to Honolulu in a long time, where the players were playing at probably 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that game is definitely going to be interesting to see how the players react to this. But they've got a built-in fan base a bit, rugby and such. So I'm sure it's gonna, I'm sure it's gonna do well there. I just think there's a point where if you're trying to grow it and you're shooting for this international franchise, just focus in the area where you think you're going to grow it and just go from there. I don't Australia. I think probably could have waited another couple of years.
Yeah, is the I mean that's rugby land is the thirst for American football really a high pivoting pivot point down there.
Maybe the NFL is going to say, you know what, this is the next pipeline we're really going to hit because there are players who've come over from rugby to play in the NFL. So
Yeah.
it strengthens that pipeline. So it's interesting, but Friday morning, enjoy that Australia.
My Colts had one at one point, and I don't think he lasted any more than being a special teams player.
You keep bringing them in. Sooner or later, someone's going to stick. There have been some guys. I know New England, Phillies had some guys that have been quality players there. So it's it just it grow. You're trying to grow the game. Like I said, it's great. Everyone just thinks it's going to be in England, so just focus there. And then, like I said, once you get that established, then I think you'd move on to other parts of the world. But hey, we'll all be watching it. For us, we're lucky. It's just a regular Thursday night game.
Yeah, and that Australia game is the regular Thursday game because it pushes the opening kickoff, the Champions window, to Wednesday, to be able to play this game on Thursday. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the opening night being on a Wednesday, but it is what it is. Uh, but what do you think about the matchup in Australia as it is? Niners, I don't want to say at Rams, but Niners versus Rams in Melbourne.
It's a solid matchup. The Niners are trying to retool. Let's be honest, they're probably third best in that division, and this is almost the last grasp for that team. A lot of guys are getting older. The Rams and Seahawks are built to win now. A lot of people are picking the Rams to be the team to take it all this year. So this is a statement game for San Fran. They've picked up some pieces, and they know that if they're going to do it, their window's closing.
Yeah, more pressure for the Niners to come out with a big one, big win as opposed to the Rams. Maybe the pressure, other than it being a divisional game, probably not as high on them.
No, but I think the Rams are going to come out with a mindset this year that this is the year, because this could be the last year for Stafford. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Who knows if he's going to play another year? So I think the Rams are going to be all or nothing this year. So they're going to be a dangerous team, and the Niners, if they're going to want to keep up with both the Seahawks and the Rams, these are games they have to have.
yeah. And week two, we get a week off from international competition, and then what begins a 3, 4, 5 week stretch of international games. So the NFL goes back to Brazil, the annual Rio game, and this one in week three is Ravens at Cowboys.
It's a nice matchup. I like it. Let's be honest, the Cowboys. I think people are giving them a chance, giving them a puncher's chance, especially in their division in the NFC East. The Ravens, new coach. We've talked about them for years. I've tried to support them coming out of the AFC, and they've been nothing but fraudulent for me. So this is it. Both these teams are kind of at a crossroads in a certain way. Lamar with the contract coming up and such, is he the guy? Is this team really built to win? Because the AFC right now is kind of loaded, and with some new teams stepping up to play, it'll be interesting. And then the Cowboys, they think they finally have got it together. They've improved the defense a bit. The offense last year was solid. They can put up points. The question is can they stop people?
I think the NFC is the more loaded conference right now, but I think the AFC is in that changing of the guard thing, where the old guard is seemed to be falling off or not looking as pretty as they once did, and these new crop of teams are starting to sharpen their teeth.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a lot of young lions ready to pounce and try to take the throne in the AFC. Maybe some are unproven, but they feel they're ready. And the NFC, it's like an older guard, and it's one of those things where you've got your three or four, but then there's still three or four other ones that could sneak up and snag the NFC crown. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But the AFC it's quite entertaining.
Yeah, so that one's a very interesting, of course, like but from Baltimore's perspective, trying to make sure prove they still have it, and then Cowboys just trying to keep up with the Joneses.
It's the Ravens have had it. They just haven't been able to finish the job. So now you have a new head coach. You're hoping the culture changes, but they've got to be careful because Lamar's going to want a new contract. That's coming up. So there's some things that they've got to deal with. The Cowboys, like I said, they can score. It's just their defense has been abysmal, and they've improved this year through the draft and some other pickups. So they've got a good shot to win the division. Let's be honest. A lot of people aren't exactly sold on the Eagles anymore. They have their internal issues. So this could be the year, the Cowboys maybe steal the division and maybe get on a hot streak and actually, do something.
Then 3 straight weeks in London. I guess the players were complaining that Britain gets a bit cold the longer they wait, so maybe that's why they decided to start this in week four.
I guess it's good that the NFL listens to the players. There's especially like the Jags. They literally are there like 3 times. They're there like every year, and
Yeah.
there's a point where you've got to listen to the players. And if they're telling you, yeah, it gets cold, like let's if we can bump this up. And I think it's better if you have it early enough, then you kind of get them out of the way, and then at that point you can focus, on divisional games and such down the stretch. It kind of clears that up. Teams can get their buys in and such. So I do like the fact that the internationals are earlier this year.
Yeah. The first one, the Jags do get two, but the first one is my Colts with Washington. Now, could this be Daniel Jones's return? Could Jaden Daniels be back in form from off his injury? So a lot of question marks at the quarterback position for that one. The first game in London.
Yeah, it's quarterbacks coming back from injury. Some changes on the offense and defensive side for both these teams. So it's it's going to be interesting. I think people don't know what to take from Indy. If Daniel Jones is 100% and can go, they've got a chance. They definitely have a shot. If he comes along slower than normal back from the injury, could be a bit of a hiccup. Washington, Daniels has got to stay healthy. He's got to learn to not try to do too much, learn to slide. Live to play
Yeah.
another down. And they've picked up some nice pieces on defense youth wise. So it's these teams are just they're trying to get back to where they were before the quarterback injuries and such. So it'll be an entertaining game.
And then the two Jags games that follow that up, they quote unquote host the Eagles and then the Texans.
Good games. Like I said before, the Eagles we're trying to figure out who they are. From all signs, AJ Brown probably won't be there anymore. You
Yeah.
know, come June 1st, it's sounding like the Eagles at New England. The worst kept secret trade in American history. It sounds like that's going to happen.
Yeah, we're just
So,
waiting on that clock to tick.
yep, just wait for midnight to hit, and poof, there you go, folks. It'll be on NFL Shop. Get your AJ Brown jerseys for New England, and then it'll be a good game. But Jags Houston, I think that's very interesting because we know what the Jags defense is, and I think they're going to be better than last year. The big question and the only question for them is CJ Stroud. Can CJ bounce back from last year's fiasco and be the guy that they think he can? Because they picked up the fifth year, so if he can't deliver this year, they're looking elsewhere.
Yeah, no six turnover games, and that would certainly not be a good look to put over to the Brits.
No, not at all. The Brits want to see some quality. So let's at least give them a little something. But
Yeah.
both games I think are going to be entertaining, and could down the road really affect these teams in the division.
So we're about halfway through. You like the quality so far of the international flavor?
Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's good. It's not like I'm seeing. Well, it's not like it's like the Steelers and the Browns or something.
Well, very interesting enough because the next one is in Old Paris, and it is Steelers and Saints.
Jeez, well, I shouldn't have said nothing. I should have just kept my mouth shut. All right, I'll pick the Saints right now to win that game. Honestly, I think the Saints have better
Wow.
talent. I really do.
Wow.
I
How pissed off are you at the Steelers to be willfully rooting for the Saints?
Yeah, really. Because I don't understand how this franchise, how one of the pillars of the NFL. Let's be honest, the Steelers,
Yeah.
one of the elite franchises, 6 Super Bowls, yada yada yada. For the last 10 years, have been so mediocre. Mike Tomlin finally leaves. You figure, okay, we got to get this right. It's time to move on. So, what all off season do you hang your hat on? Aaron Rodgers, is he coming back? Is Aaron coming back? Like, really? It's a rehash of last year. How much better are you? Really, how much better are you? Not much. Not much.
No,
So, no.
I'm certainly not going to ring the bell for them getting better because they brought in Michael Pittman.
Yeah, this will be the one game of the season where he puts up like 212 passing yards because for some reason Aaron Rodgers will look all vintage and everyone will be like, "Oh, he's back! Oh, he's back!"
It'll be the game when Indy comes to town. That'll be it. That'll be the game.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Like I said, the Steelers really they've bungled this whole thing, and if they can win 9 games, I'll be highly impressed. But I am not a fan of what they've done. The Saints have some nice pieces. They're still trying to figure out what they're going to be. I think offensively they're going to be good. I think they're going to take a step back a bit defensively, but Tyler Shuck is good quarterback. They got some nice, like I said, nice
Oh,
pieces, and we'll see what happens.
you like Tyler Shaw? Okay.
He's a gritty guy. I believe it. I saw him firsthand. I'm
Yeah.
not going to sit here and say, oh, he's a bum right
You
now.
saw you saw it firsthand and took the wrong end of it.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, I guess. But he was better than Derek Carr.
Yes, that's true. Derek Carr could barely stay on the
So
field.
exactly. So the Saints, I think, that they're slowly rebuilding. They're trying to get things right, but the Steelers are stuck in neutral and don't know what they're going to do.
The international flavor takes a week off and starts a 3 game stretch, one in Madrid. And I'm guessing you're going to wonder, the Spaniards are going to be wondering why we would do this to them, Bengals and Falcons.
Okay. It's not horrible. Okay, it's better than the freaking Steelers and Saints. Let's be realistic. So two
Oh,
teams that you got two teams that can score. Atlanta has a solid defense. They've got a solid defense. You can't knock it. The quarterback situation is going to be entertaining because we don't know who's going to start. We have no idea, and sounds like they're going to give Tua all the chances in the world to start. So this will be interesting to see. The Bengals, you know, basically gave away their number 10 pick in the first round for sexy Dexter there, and they picked up some pieces on defense, so they're hoping to be better. Anything was better than they were last year, so
yeah.
it'll be fun. I think you'll see high scoring. It's just going to be, is it going to be 43 to 41, some weird score like that, or will there be some defensive stops?
Munich usually gets the good ones, and this time we said the Germans, Patriots, and Lions.
Ooh. Ooh, nice. I like that one. That looks to be good. Hopefully, Mike Vrabel's gotten over the issues going on at home. And
Yeah, yeah.
oh, oh Mike. But anyways, so you've got, the Patriots and the Lions, Patriots coming off the Super Bowl loss, but you got to give them their credit right now. And the Lions are bouncing back. Their window not as closed as the San Fran's, but they're in win now mode. They got rid of Montgomery, so it's the Gibbs show at running back, and they got to put up now. It's put up or shut up.
And the final one, it feels like the NFL's been trying 3 years to get the Mexico City game going, and sure enough, they finally did. Vikings and Niners. So, is that a good show to finally get that one in?
Okay, so we have no idea who the starting quarterback will be for the Vikings, and then you got the Niners who are trying to maybe catch lightning in a bottle one last year here. Um, it could be a fun game. You've got Jay Jettas. There's offensive talent all over the place. There's stars, so it'll be an entertaining game. It's just going to be interesting to see what the Vikings are at that point. Who's the starting quarterback, and at that point, what this offense is.
So you're not confident in Kyler? He doesn't have it locked down yet.
You still gotta give McCarthy the chance for the job. They can't just be like, okay, it's Kyler and see you later, nine. The party's over. Like, you can't do that.
Fine.
you know. So you got to give him a shot. But if Kyler plays the way he can, I think Kyler gets the job, and it could make the Vikings a dangerous team. It gives them a quarterback that can scramble, and Kyler can throw the ball. That's not the issue. It's just whether his head was in the game and if he was dedicated really to the team. So I think he realizes this is really his last shot. Like honestly, if it doesn't work out here, the only other team he's going to is probably the Jets. Like let's be
I w-
real.
I would think that Jettis's first pick would be Kyler Murray. He needs someone with an arm.
No, definitely. You know what? And plus, they just signed Juwan Jennings, so it's kind of like his little get back to the Niners. Like, okay, you didn't want to pay me, so he could show out. So it's going to be a fun game. The Vikings could be sneaky good. That division is tough, but they could be sneaky good.
Yeah. All right. Enough of those international games. We'll get right into the holiday games. Thanksgiving got even busier.
Uh-oh, turkey time! Woo woo!
And I saw a joke online that said, tell your family you'll see him on the weekend because you'll be watching too much football." And I'm not going to condone media consumption over quality family time, but the joke has some roots because for the first time, the NFL is extending their Thanksgiving window into Wednesday with a Netflix primetime special featuring the Packers and Rams.
No, no, no. There's nothing wrong with this. If it's in the football season, if it falls within the window of September to February, then the family knows that's how it goes. That's the rule in this house. From September to February, that's how this works. After that, I am available for all movies, fiestas, and everything else. But once week one hits, I'm sorry. It was nice knowing you.
Locked in, locked in.
Locked in. So give me that little Thanksgiving pre whatever, then hit me hard on Thursday. Let's do it.
Now you already sung up the Rams' praises as a contender going into the season, and we know we are down on the Packers from last year. Tired, not maybe not to Ravens level, but tired of waiting for them to do something. Come on, do something.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, Packers and Rams to kick off the Thanksgiving window?
If the teams are at their best, yeah, it's an entertaining game. But don't forget, Micah Parsons, they're saying won't be back for like 3 to 4 weeks. Now that's before Thanksgiving, but if, let's say he's still not there yet, so that could be a problem. Romeo Dobbs is gone. Like they've got wide receivers up the wazoo that can run around. It's just they just can't win for some reason, and you have to look at the quarterback position. This is the year that Jordan Love he's got to be the guy. He can't be like, oh, every third game he's putting up great numbers, and then the prime games it's like, okay, well, what's he doing? Where is he? And you're playing the Rams. Like I said, I think a lot of people think the Rams are going to be the team in the NFC. So if they want to make a statement, this is a game you got to have.
Yeah, and to your point on Dobbs, now Dobbs is a good player, but very much was successful with the quarterbacks in Green Bay. And this definitely opens the window if Matthew Golden can stay healthy for him to prove that they are right to use such a high pick on him.
Yeah, him and Christian Watson. That guy's great when he's healthy. When he's healthy. If it's a situation where you're losing a wide receiver, like a different receiver every couple of weeks, you're not going to have your full complement of weapons, and then you're just going to end up taking your running backs and running them into the ground.
Yeah. Now it's not too often that there's usually on the Thanksgiving slate, there's usually a couple games that are stinkers. But I think overall, from Wednesday to Thursday night football on Black Friday, it's a pretty solid overall slate of quality. So the actual Turkey Day kicks off with, of course, the Lions, and they play the Bears, who were a huge surprise last year. Eagles and Cowboys, obviously, that's a huge rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and Chiefs and Bills, we're not used to getting that on a holiday. That's usually CBS usually keeps that one close to the chest, but that is the NBC primetime on Thanksgiving, which I'm actually kind of glad that that one's quality because how many times do we get to the primetime game on Thanksgiving? It's not worth watching.
We're calling it quality now, but who knows? Maybe it's gonna be Justin Fields.
What
No,
Justin Fields?
no. Yeah, I like this game because I think right now you almost have to look at Buffalo as like the favorite, but like they're the favorite, but there isn't that. Oh well, if Mahomes gets hot because we don't know what Mahomes we're gonna get. He's coming back from
Yeah,
the ACL. That team, did well in the draft defensively. offensively, I don't think they did anything to really improve. So we have to see what this Chiefs team is going to be. And do we sit there and say, okay, let's say the Bills, win. Okay, are the Bills, are the Bills ready? No, did you just beat a wounded Chiefs team that is no longer what they were? Do we look at it as the Bills should beat them, or is this the Chiefs' last hurrah? Because let's be honest, I don't know if Travis Kelce's going to play another year. Chris Jones is, he's almost seems like he's year to year. Still a great player, but still year to year. The Chiefs team isn't from 3 or 4 years ago during the dominant run. So it's going to be interesting how this game in the AFC window really plays. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah, they Chris Jones, I think, is probably the next target to get shipped out of town after they did that same treatment to their all pro level quarterbacks. I didn't see them bring any offensive line, so that's still a problem for Mahomes and a problem for their prize acquisition, which was Kenny Walker. Running backs need an O line too. It's not just the protection. And then on top of that, like you said, I didn't see them bring in any like premier type of wide receivers either.
I think they just need a quality wide receivers, not guys that just run down the field and run like 4-3, 4-4s. Like that's great and all, but you need possession receivers. You need those guys. And I'm sorry, but Travis, unless he has a rebirth beyond belief and wins comeback player of the year, I don't think he's that guy. He's going to be, red zone situational kind of guy, but they need that guy. That's why I thought they were going to trade up and take the tight end from Oregon. He would have been the smart move for them. But they want that. I guess it's going to be a defensive first team. So they just better hope Patrick's got enough in the tank and is able to move around and deliver those points. Because if that defense starts to falter, they're in a bad division as it is. That division's tough.
And hope that their new quarterbacks are quick studies to be any form of semblance of the last ones.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting from the Chiefs' perspective, but I like the Chiefs Bills game. I think it'll be good.
What do you think of the Lions and the Cowboys actually getting some decent competition as opposed to a cupcake that they usually steamroll over?
No, I think it's good. The league's got to look at it now. It's like the Cowboys, literally, let's be honest, it's almost like it's been in name only. Like they can put up points,
Cowboys
but
and Dave only.
it hasn't been like, oh wow, playoff bound. It hasn't been the '90s for the Cowboys in 30 plus years. So I think they've got the offense, they've worked on the defense. Dak, 10 plus years in the league, man. Now it's now or never. If he can't get it done in the next couple of years, they're going to start looking elsewhere. So it's good to see the Cowboys, put up some, have to play some tough guys and, either put up or shut up. The Lions, same thing. Got to get it done. The window, like I said, a little bigger than the Niners, but slowly closing.
Now Amazon always gets booted from their usual Thursday slot. The NFL last couple of years rewarded them by giving the Black Friday game, which usually we make fun of. It's usually not a very quality game. But Broncos Steelers, that's not bad.
Wow. Okay. Wow. You must really miss football, bro. Okay. Now, if Bo Nix isn't playing for some reason, then okay, yeah, maybe it's entertaining
Oh,
because you don't know what the heck you're gonna get. But let's be real, that Broncos defense is really good. I think we make the mistake with the Steelers because we always think that defense is gonna save them, and they do just enough. But this is a whole new Steelers team. I can't compare them to the Tomlin Steelers because they're not. It's Mike McCarthy Steelers.
yeah.
TJ Watt's getting older. You know what? You never know. TJ Watt could end up being a trade candidate this year. You never know. Like he should have been. Like the Steelers at this point should have flipped half this roster and been young and just building it up from scratch. So the Saints were or have been keeping your old guys, trying to bring in little pieces and keep the dream alive. If if the game holds true, I think, and Bo Nix is healthy and it's Aaron Rodgers, yeah, this game should be ugly. This game should be an ugly game.
I mean, that might hold true to start refilling the pantry because they bring in McCarthy, and as we know, the Steelers are used to keeping coaches for 20 to 30 years. But there's not much here off the Tomlin era. Mike McCarthy could have a shorter tenure than Steelers coaches are used to, just because there's nothing here for him to work with. They might need to trade stars like TJ Watt and get some draft picks as capital to be able to build this thing back up in a faster way so his seat doesn't get hotter than it should.
Yeah, I think it's something that that you have to do. Yeah, it's great that to have like that defensive player of the year and all of that, but there's a point where you've got to say we've got to look 5 6 years down the road. And I think if they had done that, maybe moved some other pieces, Tomlin still would have been the coach, and they probably would have been in a better situation. But this is where they're at. They're held together with tape and freaking bandages, and they're hoping that maybe they catch a run, but I don't think they repeat what they did last year and were or as good as they were last year. I just don't. Not with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. All right. Santa. Well, usually this is another one where the Christmas games, maybe it's just because this has kind of been a Netflix thing, as far as being sold exclusively as Christmas type of games. And maybe the first couple years were just an experimental ground. The matchups look a little bit better this year, so maybe the NFL started to take Christmas a little more seriously. The dastardly move to take the holiday away from the NBA.
Yep, yep. Mr. Goodell said, "Yep, all right, Mr. Silver, you had fun. Now it's my time." And then here it is, folks. The
Yeah,
NFL all over the place, but it's and football in the end, football rules the world. It is what it is. Internationally, I think the NBA is still a better product, but when it comes to the good old US of A, football is Lord. That's it.
yeah. And this is also the first year that Christmas expands into a triple header for the NFL. And because Christmas falls on a Friday, that means we factor in one more game with the usual Thursday night schedule with the Christmas Eve primetime affair, featuring, funny enough, because they were the Jags opponents in London, Texans at Eagles on Christmas Eve.
That's gonna be good. I like that one right there. I like that. That very well could be the end of Jalen Hurts as we know it.
Wow. So Jalen Hurts is on your hot seat. This is it. This is the end of the leash.
Let's be real here. Literally flashed on my TV. They were talking about New England and how it looks like AJ's getting traded. The talk will pick up, and then post June 1st, the party's over, like we said earlier. Um, let's be honest. A lot of people are questioning Jalen Hurts. Like this is real. Like the Texans very well could come out of the AFC if CJ gets his head right with that defense. Uh-uh. I'm sorry, man. That defense is scary. I love Houston's defense. If the Phillies offense can't figure it out, that game's a wrap. It's done.
Well, and I was also thinking because Philly's also not one to shy away from defensive performances either. So I'm thinking, what's the over/under going to be for this one? Less than 20?
Very well could be. You might be looking at a 10-6 Fiesta.
For
Ooh, 10
first
6. I like that.
first team to double figures wins.
That's it. They call Goodell and they're like, yeah, man, just whoever hits 10 wins. That's it. We can't be doing this. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it's gonna be a defensive struggle, but I think the Texans defense is just slightly better. I really
If
do.
J- if Jalen Hurts is on your hot seat, is Nick Sirianni as well?
Yeah, I think you know it's
Package
either
deal.
he it's almost I don't want to say the inmates running the asylum, but I think it's just been he's been lucky.
Mhm.
He's been lucky, and now this is the year where he's going to have to really figure it out and be the guy, be the coach, and speak up and say, hey, this is how it's got to be. And he may ruffle some feathers, but they've got to figure it out. If they don't win the division, I could see them bouncing them and saying, okay, party's over. Because I think at the end of the day, if they have to pick between their quarterback and their coach, they're going with the quarterback. That's what most teams do.
So,
Unless Jalen has a horrible year, unless he's a horrible year, they're going to keep him because a franchise quarterback is hard to come by, and
yeah.
Sirianni is going to be out the door.
So I read between the lines. Well, then he's on the hot seat the next year because you always say when you hire a new coach, they want their guy.
Well, don't forget who's waiting in the wings. Who's taking a year off, relaxing. Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, and Mike Tomlin probably doesn't want to rebuild. He give it. He'd at least give it a shot to coach with an established quarterback.
They will get because he hasn't had one in how long?
Fair.
And
Aaron
that
Rodgers
defense,
doesn't count.
it's not like that team is really old. That team has got a lot of talent, and they'll do whatever it takes. You get Mike Tomlin in there, he could literally run that division for 5 to 6 years. Now, mind you, the Giants are getting better. The Cowboys were kind of sitting there going, we don't know yet. But Tomlin could come in there and cause some havoc.
And he could laugh at the Giants twice a year because they jumped at the chance to hire Harbaugh instead of waiting.
Yep. And so, well, the Giants are the Giants. There's a lot of buzz with them. But if the Eagles falter, don't be surprised, man. Why not?
Yes, and then the triple header on Christmas starts off with Packers Bears. So the Bears get two the holiday early window on the early window on both holidays. Then Bills and Broncos, a rematch of that divisional weekend that was very sad for multiple reasons. One, because it was Josh's best chance at a Super Bowl. Two, because we know what happened with Bo Nix and what went on against the Patriots. And then the prime timer on Christmas evening is Rams and Seahawks. Always fun.
Rams Seahawks, I think is no doubt is going to be the best game of the day. But I think
That's the
all of them are
this
that's pretty
this
good.
this is Goodell's kiss goodbye to the NBA. By the way,
Yep, he said, "Yep, this is how we end you." So you guys have had a hell of a run, but now they're about to plant their flag in it. Um, Bills Broncos, I think is going to be great. We don't know what New England's going to be, so I think teams are kind of hesitant. People are hesitant to say, okay, they're going to be the team out of the AFC East for the next 5 6 years. So they want to see what New England's going to be, but I think this one's good. I'm sure Bills fans are looking for a little kickback, but that's a great game right there.
yeah. What do you think about Packers? I mean, well, I get what's better, the Lions Bears on Thanksgiving or the Packers Bears on Christmas? A playoff rematch, I suppose. Yeah,
I guess the Packers Bears I'll take by like a hair,
yeah,
but now at this point it's time for the Bears to really to do it. Like this is Caleb's third year. It's time. Like you can't start going the George Love route of, oh, the potential's there. It's gonna happen. He's gonna get those couple. He's gonna give you those couple games, and then the rest of the games are just gonna be like, eh. Like now it's time. You've had 3 years, him and Ben together. Now it's time for you to really come out and say, hey, we are the team that's going to control the NFC. If not, then and they start to digress, there's going to be questions.
and controlling the NFC. To dial back to the previous point, he said that would be the best game of the night. The best game of the day, I should say, of Christmas Day. Rams and Seahawks.
Most
Are you
people.
changing your mind now?
No, I'm not changing my mind. I think Chicago has the talent. It's just that, at quarterback, it's been 3 years and everyone is kind of trying to anoint Chicago as, okay, they're ready. So they got to put up. But yeah, right now it's Rams, Seahawks, and then everybody else. This game, could go a long way into, deciding who is playing in the Super Bowl in February. It's going to be fun. Um, the question is do they still have the fire? Because after you win, a lot of teams after they win, they're kind of like, okay, yeah, we won, and you have the hangover, and you don't have that drive or that fight for it. I think the Rams have it. I think because they know that Stafford probably isn't going to be there next year, so this is all or nothing, and they're stacked top to bottom. So I think that's why this game to me is the best game because it's the hunter now the hunted, and now the Rams are there, so it's going to be one of these two teams, I think.
And not to dump on the defending champs, but Kenny Walker obviously walked, no pun intended, and Zach Charbonnet sitting on the IR. So this is could be a very empty backfield behind Sam Darnold. A lot of unproven abilities.
Yeah, and you can't, sit there and throw to JSN 30 times and hope that he's going to,
He might
put up
try.
extra numbers. Well, you're going to have to figure out, and don't forget your offensive coordinator left. You know, you know, Clint left, so now it's a situation of what is this offense going to kind of stay in that mold, or are they going to, try to do something else? And I give Sam Darnold credit. He's been the butt of jokes forever. Let's be honest. Since
Yeah.
he was with the Jets. But now this is now you're the hunted. You're the guy now. So now you're trying to defend it. So now we got to see what he's about.
So let's go and run through our primetime slate. We used to make fun of the Amazon schedule, but they've gotten better last year.
Amazon got better because 2 years ago we were like, oh my gosh, why do we even bother? Like, what
Yeah.
is this? Like only for fantasy reasons did you watch Amazon. And then last year I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, okay, good job, guys, you're getting better. So I'm hoping they reach that next level.
Yeah, let's see how they can follow that up because their opener is of course in week two because the Thursday night in week one traditionally was always the champs, which was on NBC, and then this year, of course, with that getting bumped up, is going to be the Melbourne game. So the Thursday night opener is week two, Lions at Bills in the new stadium in Buffalo.
That'll be a good game. Like I said, Lions are trying to bounce back and try to show people that they're not done. Like I said, it's going to be the Gibbs show. Montgomery's gone, so we're going to see what they're gonna be. Defensively they're still solid. They've got weapons. It's just, can they put it all together? Can they do it?
Yeah, and then next up, you'll get a kick out of this. Atlanta at the Packers.
Oh boy. Well, quarterback to be determined in Atlanta. We'll see what it is. The Packers, in all likelihood, like I said, without Micah Parsons, um, if they can stay healthy, if the wide receivers can stay healthy, then that offense can score. It's just going to be defensively who does what. And like I said, the X factor is who's Atlanta's quarterback.
And week four, I guess you have to give the Browns something. But if you're gonna give us Steelers and Browns, at least put it later in the season, so we get a snowball. Putting it in week four is a little too early for snow, so I don't know how much juice is in Steelers Browns for this one.
Well, it's Aaron Rodgers versus, oh yeah, quarterback to be determined. Most people are thinking it's Deshaun Watson. So Deshaun Watson's coming back. Oh Lord, we'll see what happens. But
It's kind of
yeah,
TBD on both sides because Rodgers hasn't given them the final kiss yet.
yeah. So it could be Will Howard and Shador Sanders. There we go. I'll take that. At least I know it's youth, and you're gonna. It is what it is. I'm not looking at old guys trying to revive a career. So all right, I guess
I think we put Deshaun Watson in the old guys category now,
the
being
future
how that's played out.
the future starting quarterback for the Jets, Deshaun Watson. Get ready for it. Here we go. Woo-hoo.
Jets fans wanted him a few years ago. They did.
They might they might get their wish after this year.
Yeah, get him a little too late. It's like vintage Knicks rebuilding years. Week five of particular note to you, Tampa and Dallas.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that one. I like that one. The Oh wow, it's gonna be interesting to see, because to see what the Tampa offense becomes, without Mike Evans and such, lots of receivers. We'll see what happens defensively. We're rebuilding, so it'll be fun to see how this goes with Dallas. Their defense also rebuilding. We'll see what their offense is. So it's probably gonna be an ugly shootout.
Week six, the what could have been bowl. If If Bo Nix hadn't got hurt in the playoffs, Seattle at Denver.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one. A good one. Again, Seattle is now the hunted, so they're going to get every team's best. So it'll be interesting to see how Bo Nix is progressing from the injury and what their offense is going to be.
Week 7, to third year, if I'm not mistaken, third year quarterbacks, and a rematch of the 1985 Super Bowl. I guess technically 1986, Patriots at Bears.
Ooh. I'd almost want to say it's a possible Super Bowl matchup. I'm not a
Oh,
100%. I said almost. See, I said almost because I'm not 100% sold on the Bears yet, but the Patriots have been there, so I can say that with confidence on that end. Hey, they lucked, even though some people would say they lucked into the Super Bowl. Hey, it is what it is, you know. But it'll be good to see, these two young quarterbacks go at it. Both teams, look like they're going to have some explosiveness on offense. It's just it looks like it's just a good quality game.
week 8. This was one of the upsets of last year that really turned us up. It's really started to make you doubt the Packers. Well, make both of us doubt the Packers. Carolina at Green Bay.
Well, here's
Little revenge here.
here's another fifth year guy. Bryce Young. This is the year. If he can't put it together or they take a step back, they may say, okay, it's been fun, but we got to find somebody because they've got offense. They've picked up some pieces on defense. They're building to win now. So it
Yeah.
all depends on Bryce Young. So it's it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with Carolina. But again, Jordan Love got the weapons. He's got the team. He's just got to put it all together. He's got to be the guy.
He gave Bryce a bit of a pass for this first couple of years, being that there was nothing there. But now it's like, shit or get off the pot because the teams have built up and they've bought into Dave Canals.
Because Bryce has shown enough to say, okay, well, if you can do it, you got to do it consistently. And that's at that point, you have to ask the question. Okay, we gave the guy his fifth year. After 5 years, if he hasn't shown you enough to say, okay, the next 5 years he's gonna take us to the promised land, then you got to jump. You got to move on, and maybe you sit there and say, okay, well, we look around. Maybe there's a guy who can we can pick up via trade or something and insert him in and gets us to a win now scenario. Who knows? But Bryce has got to put up this year. Like I think they got to win for him. They can't luck into the playoffs or fall into it over, a three-way tie, the crazy mathematics that is the NFL. They would have to probably win the division outright, and he would have to put up some numbers and show people that he is legitimately the guy for them to
Well,
really keep him.
especially because in the modern NFL, quarterbacks get paid so much money. Even the bottom tier quarterbacks still get paid a lot of money and eat up a lot of the cap. So you cannot risk that kind of commitment and deep sixing the rest of your team's flexibility, financial
Yeah.
flexibility, if he's not the guy.
Exactly. And if he's going to sit there and say, well, I know I can find that money elsewhere, well, good luck. And depending where you find that money, you may not be happy.
Now the next one I'm gonna give you a time frame for because that Carolina game was 2 days before Halloween. So week 9, we head into November. That's no By November, we got a pretty good sense of who's legit for the playoffs right now. So the
Mhm.
Ravens could be in a very, very interesting scenario the first week of November as they host Jacksonville.
Mm, wow. It's going to be it's interesting. Like I said, Baltimore has all the talent. Baltimore has talent all over the place. It's not a question of talent. It's whether they can just put it all together and just figure it out. Um, so that's what it comes down to. You've got a new coach. The whispers are going to be around. Does Lamar want to resign? Will he resign? Will they maybe trade him and say, hey, you know what, we can get a boatload of picks and keep this thing going for another 10 years because the quarterback class of next year is supposed to be really good. So you've got that. Jacksonville, you know, Trevor played well last year. Has he arrived? You're going to find out. If they regress at all, then the questions will start with Trevor. So it's for both of these teams. It's if they want to be the team in the AFC, this is the game where you show out.
Next one up, very interesting because we talked about my Colts playing Washington overseas and some question marks of if Jones would be back, if Daniels would be 100%. This is another similar game of QBs coming off of injuries, but this is mid-November. In theory, at least hangover injuries. Obviously, we can't predict future injuries, but the injuries from last year should no longer be a situation. And this is an NFC grudge match: Washington versus the Giants. Daniels, of course, missed most of the season, and Jackson Dart got banged up towards the end.
Yeah, this could be really good. The Giants have improved on defense. They've got some dogs on defense. Um, Dart, this is it's his team. He just has to stay healthy, learn to slide, and not try to do extra. Um, Scottaboo's got to stay healthy. He's got to learn not to lead with his head. With the little jokes that we've made. Over last year, he was a little the helmet into the wall and all that. That's got to stop. But they've got Neighbors is coming back. They've got pieces. The Giants are going to be an interesting team to watch. They've got pieces. They could make some noise. So it's just which of these teams is going to be healthy and can kind of put it together at the right time to make a push. I don't know if either of these teams can win the division, but they could be a wild card team.
Yeah. Next up, speaking of my Colts, we go visit Houston. Now, I feel like I've been robbed a couple times in the last couple of years. Normally, this is a guarantee some point on the Thursday night schedule, but we've had our disrespect with not getting primetime games lately. So we're back and back with the classic.
See, you complain, and then they give you Houston.
Someone's
Yeah,
listening, thank goodness.
someone's listening. When it comes to you guys, as long as Indiana Jones is healthy, you got a shot. You've got weapons. It's just can your offensive line handle the onslaught of the Houston line? Because that line is scary, and
Oh, yeah.
their secondary is good. Like if that defense is better than what it was last year, honestly, I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't think a team survives. They're just that good. But it also depends on their offense. If Stroud isn't right, then it changes everything. So it'll be interesting to see how Indiana Jones coming back from the injury, what this offense will be now without Pittman, and for Houston, what this offense will be.
Well, and I'm a little worried about our offensive line because I think we had a period of time where we had one of the most elite units in the league. And Quentin, he's still good, but he's lost some of that eliteness that he once had. And Braden Smith's gone. I think he went to the Bengals. I don't think that's correct, but he left and went and signed on with someone. So Ryan Kelly's long gone at this point. Costanzo obviously retired early for quite a few years ago now. So I'm not as confident in our offensive line as I once was.
It's one of those things where you hope the offensive worst case scenario bends but doesn't break. Um, Jonathan Taylor's going to have to be the guy again. He's going to have to handle the load. You got to keep him healthy though. You can't run him into the ground because if he goes down, then that offense is going to struggle. So I think it's going to be one of those things that this offense is going to find itself. Um, like I said, number one thing is just trying to keep Danny Dimes upright and your defense just play solid. Bend but don't break.
Next one is Thanksgiving, which we already spoke on.
Mm-hmm.
And next up, week 13 is kicks off December, the month of December. Chiefs at Rams. Should we see the Chiefs on life support at this point?
I don't think pleasure in people's downfalls. No, I don't know. We don't like I said. We talked earlier about the Chiefs. We don't know what they're going to be. You got to give them credit. You give them the puncher's chance because they've earned that right. But what is Mahomes? What is this offense? They, like I said, they picked up great on defense. They were masterful on defense on draft night. But what are they going to be? And can they go score for score with the Rams? Because if the Rams are at their best, even though they've got great corners, the Chiefs, the Rams have guys that can catch the ball all over the place. They could go freaking six wide at receiver and then just do whatever. And then if they decide not to, go what, three tight ends, because they got tight ends that can do it all. So, and they can run the ball.
And the Rams stole both their corners, so it's a little bit of a well, not a homecoming because it's in LA, but a little bit of a familiarity situation.
Exactly, and the corners you're going to put out there to start are rookies, and you better hope that they're fast learners, and don't don't get too excited by the big lights, because
Yeah.
you're going up against Puka, you're going up against Devontae Adams, like you're like this is as elite as it gets, and if you're trying to go score for score with them, I don't know if the Chiefs can do it, even with that run game. I don't think they can do it.
This is a bit of an odd one, sticks out like a sore thumb. Week 14, but I guess you gotta give the Vikings something. Vikings at Patriots.
um, like I said, with both these teams with New England, it's just have they grown from the Super Bowl loss? Are they better? Or have they regressed? If the trade goes through for AJ Brown, him on one side, Dobbs on the other side, they can run the ball. So they've got tight ends, so that they've got weapons. The defense is solid. That defense is a legit unit. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. I don't know.
Week 15, West Coast battle, Niners at Chargers.
All right, Niners or Chargers. We've spoken about the Niners. Like I said, I think the window is 1, maybe 2 years tops, if that. Kittle's been getting banged up more and more. Um, they've got Mike Evans. They just got to hope that the hamstring holds up. Because Mike has those little blocks of games where the hamstring might act up and he's out a game or two. Um, the run game, as long as McCaffrey's healthy, he gives you a chance. That defense, you still got Fred Warner and stuff, so they're a solid team. But do they scare you? I don't think they scare anybody anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if the window's closed, but the luster is definitely worn off.
No, the window is closing. Like, you have to be realistic. I don't know how many more years CMC can run like he does. Like I said, Kittle's hurt. They are built to almost. They are in a win now mode.
Yeah.
Like this team. Do you think this team would be just as good 5 years from now with
Oh
the
no,
pieces they have?
no, no.
Window.
Age will catch up to them very quickly.
They've got 2 years. If you want me to be nice and Christmassy, I'll give you
Nice.
3 years, but two. I'll give you
I think
two
two's
solid
being
years.
nice. I think two's being nice.
You know, now mind you, you've got Stafford in that division who's going to probably leave. So they've got a chance to move up a bit because we don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be. We don't know
Yeah,
what the Hawks are going to be, so they might be able to fall into it. But don't forget, there's other divisions in the NFC. So
yeah. Next one up is the Christmas Eve matchup, I should say. And then week 17. This was the one we got on Thanksgiving primetime last year. Ravens at Bengals. New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, dang, I got to be sober for that. Good Lord, no, I won't be. No, I won't. Ravens and Bengals. Wow. It's like we always talk about this game, and we're like, yeah, this is the battle for like the AF. This is the winner of this is gonna take out the Chiefs, and here we go, and then they just fall flat, and it just becomes horrible. Um, if if both teams are at full power, this could be a good game. This really could. If the Bengals can have an average defense, this game could tell. This game could be important.
Week 18, of course, is NA because everyone plays on Sunday to maximize playoff scenarios.
Maximize
So,
that money. Maximize that money.
So we move on to Sunday night because Sunday night is football night. And it's starting to be as consistent as death and taxes, the Cowboys and Giants meeting in week one in primetime.
Well, the Cowboys are going to be there and show that they are ready to be a primetime player. The Cowboys have been there. The Cowboys in the regular season show that they can play. They just can't, when it comes to getting into the playoffs or doing anything, they just can't do it. So it's going to be the situation of the Cowboys. Can they put a whooping on the Giants and say, hey, we're here for real? And do the Giants turn around, beat the Cowboys and say, hey, you know what? Don't doubt us because we could cause some trouble. So interdivision. I like it. Solid.
Week two. I don't remember the last time my Colts saw Sunday night, let alone this early in the season. However,
Mm,
I'm not sure what to think about this because we do historically play well against the Chiefs, especially in Arrowhead. But I believe that was also where Danny Dimes busted up his Achilles. So,
wow,
Colts and
it's
Chiefs.
like the
What?
geriatric bowl here, man. We got guys
Yeah.
coming off ACL tears. Good lord. Well, here's the thing. It'll be Mahomes' second game. He still might be a little nervous, a little, jittery. You know, the same thing with Dimes there. So it'll be interesting. It's like I said, we don't look at the Chiefs like we used to because we don't feel they have that fear factor anymore. So this could be a game that the Colts can come in and hang tough and pull it off.
Rams and Broncos.
Ooh,
You
could be
already
a
brought
Super
up.
Bowl
You already
matchup.
brought up. Yeah, I was gonna say you already brought up the Super Bowl matchup once, Super Bowl preview once. Could this be
Could
another
be.
one?
This very well could be. Um, that defense, that Broncos defense versus that Rams offense. Um, Bo Nix, can he play solid? Can he do enough? And it's good. That'll be a fun game. I like to see that.
Lions and Panthers. Panthers get quite a bit of primetime love right now.
Well, everyone, you make the playoffs. That's what happens, man. Everyone, yeah, I made the playoffs. Just because you make the playoffs don't mean it's a good thing. You get that bump up and difficulty of schedule. It ain't fun, man. It ain't fun. But that'll be interesting. You'll be able to really see if the Panthers have arrived, if they've gotten it together and are going to be primetime players, playoff contention throughout the year. You got the Lions who are trying to let people know that don't forget about them and that they are a Super Bowl viable team.
My choice of words is going to be hanging on for dear life. So maybe it's a good opportunity for the Panthers to catch them. Match them with the
Well,
kitties.
well, I'll tell you this: if the Panthers beat them, then yeah, I think depending on what happened earlier, first couple games of the season, people could be calling the Lions fraudgy and looking for heads to roll.
You're gonna love, 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 love the next one. Week five Sunday nighter is Ravens at Falcons, the Dirty Bird Bowl.
Oh man, Lamar's throwing for like 430 yards. Lamar's lighting this up. Um, it's Lamar versus to be determined quarterback. That's what this is. Is it Penix? Is it Tua? It doesn't even matter. Whoever the quarterback is, are they going to be healthy and can they deliver? It's the Falcons have offensive players. They've got a defense. It's just the quarterback. The quarterback is the problem. And if they don't get that solved, all that talent's going to waste, and you're going to see guys wanting to leave real quick. They, had it all together soon, and everyone thought that all the Falcons were going to be it. Last year, people were saying, "Oh man, this team could be a Super Bowl team," and we saw what happened. So,
Week six, this is a two, like you said with the Steelers, these are two other of those pinnacles of NFL lore. And it was a classic and a high scoring one last year, but it also ended in a tie, which isn't normally what you think of when it comes to a classic matchup. But week six, the Cowboys and the Packers go at it again, this time in Lambeau.
Cowboys, Packers, historians love these kind of games. it's going to be the story of which team is ready to take that next step and move closer into dethroning Rams, Seahawks to be one of those teams that we look at to say, yeah, they're the elite in the NFC. Both teams have offense. Um, Defensively, the Packers were better last year, even though Micah got hurt. They still had a better defense. Cowboys have tried to fix that up. They've gotten some pieces. It's going to be interesting to see how they do, but it could just be points on points.
Week 7, Kenny Walker's homecoming, Chiefs and Seahawks.
Well, Kenny Walker is going to learn whether to find out if the grass truly is greener on the other side. This is going to be an interesting game. The Chiefs are going to look at this and say, okay, how do we measure up? Can we, be that team again? And will America, if we win this, will America give us the respect we feel we deserve? I don't know.
Week 8, another NFC grudge match in primetime, Eagles at Washington.
All right. Eagles in Washington. Here we go. Eagles minus AJ Brown. Learning what this offense is going to be. Still got weapons. Defensively, still good. And then you got Washington, who, as long as Daniel stays healthy, like we said, their defense is trying to rebuild. They've got some young pieces. Headlined by Sonny Styles. It's trying to this defense if they can keep it. If they can be an average defense, Washington could probably make some noise. But it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. But Washington is going to be a team to watch this year for sure.
Interesting one to note, your Bucks once again in primetime on Sunday night at Bears.
Give us that respect. Yeah, that's right. Um, it'll be, yep, it's Baker versus Caleb. Is Caleb, has he grown? Is he, have the Bears taken that step to be that next elite team in the NFC? They've got the pieces, they've got the coach. Can the quarterback do it? Tampa got the offense. There's no doubt they can score points. It's just whether has this defense improved. You know, Getting Ruben Bain Jr., and pick 15, unbelievable. They've picked up some other pieces too, so it's going to be interesting to see how this young defense gels. Um, I think it's going to be a fun one to watch, And of course, anytime you got Baker Mayfield, anything's possible.
What's your nickname for Ruben Bain? Bain in the Bay, Bain of the Bay, Tampa Bain.
There's so many of them. I've thought of all those. I just don't know what to go with. Like, I just picture him in the Bane mask, and I'm like, that's good. The best part of it all is was the draft when he walked by, and just grabbed his hat. He was just like, I'm just ready to go to work. Like everybody else is putting their hats on. They all sit there and they do their thing. He didn't even look in the mirror. He just grabbed the hat and he did that Henry Cavill, arm lock. And I was like, oh, this kid's gonna kill people. This kid's gonna hurt people. I don't care. I love this man. This man, I want him to come to my house and just beat people up. I'm great. I'm all about it. But it's just, I think Tampa just it's a defensive issue for Tampa. This Todd Bowles is on the hot seat, and it's fact. So if this team defensively can improve, then who knows? Maybe Mike Tomlin likes Tampa. I'm cool with
Oh,
that.
a homecoming back from
Yeah.
the 2002 Super Bowl.
Hey, sometimes you got to go back home to get it back going. So hey, so be. But I think Bears Bucks will be a fun one.
Week 10, I'm not so sure how much we can say here. Steelers at Bengals.
Oh, you want me to say something? Okay. Okay. If the world is right, the Bengals handle business. Like, let's be real here. So I don't know. It's the Bengals. They screw things up in their own way, but I don't know what we don't know. We still, like you said, we have to wait to see if Aaron Rodgers says, "Okay, I'm ready to go," or it's Will Howard. If it's Will Howard, it could be a long season. So the Bengals, in theory, should handle business, but it's a divisional game, and you never know. The Steelers could steal one.
The next up, surprisingly, I did not realize this when we previously spoke on it, but it's the Mexico City game. Did not realize that was a Sunday night prime timer, but here we are. um, so after that is week 12, a playoff rematch from a playoff game that may have been the most easiest to forget. Patriots at Chargers.
Oh yeah, that was. Ooh. Well, it's this is the gig. This is the year. The Chargers have to get it. They've got to do it now. Like people are still trying to give Herbie the benefit of a doubt. No, you can't do it. Like he's been in the league long enough. He's got to be the guy. He's got the pieces. So it's got to happen now. They have to. I have so wanted the Chargers to be great, and like the Ravens, has let me down, has fall apart. Even though they got those beautiful powder blue jerseys, which I love. I just love those jerseys. But it's time for the Chargers to put up or shut up. This is it. It's time.
Yeah, we lit the internet ablaze with your putting Furby in the penthouse last year.
Yeah, some guy wanted to fight me in a parking lot or something. I was like, well, what do you want? I'm all about it. I want the Chargers. I believe me, the Chargers were like the team I wanted to take the Chiefs out. They couldn't figure it out, couldn't do anything, and now it's okay. They've got the pieces. They've got everything. What's the problem here? If they and now mind you, that division now is stacked, and now you got this little team called the Raiders who are starting to build things up. So now this whole division could be just a hot mess of beating each other up, and who knows? Whoever the winner of this division might limp out at 10-7. We don't even know. But the Chargers have talent. You've got the franchise quarterback. The kid can make every throw. He's unbelievable. They got to put it together.
Week 13, I never thought I'd see a team in primetime so much that doesn't even have a quarterback, and it's 2 weeks till June, but here we are, Texans at Steelers.
I swear, man. I how do the Steelers get these many games? I've never seen a 9-8 blah team for like 10 years just freaking it. Whatever. The tech, please. Like if CJ Stroud can just stand up and show up at the game, then this shouldn't even be an issue. It really shouldn't. I don't get it. But at this point in the season, the Steelers could be playing for their lives, or it could just be at that point Will Howard's playing and Aaron Rodgers is left to go on a retreat to hide in the closet in the dark. I don't know.
Next one, I'm interesting to know if you think this is good or bad. It's at least good on paper. Week 14, Bills at Packers.
This was last year. You might have said, "Ooh, possible Super Bowl matchup."
Now,
I don't.
now it's the quest. It's the quest to prove they still belong in the conversation.
Yeah, because I don't know what Buffalo's offense is going to be. Their defense was really, even though they kept it together with bandages and and string last year. Um, I don't. I This one is really tough. Like I said, the Packers have offense. Their defense, when healthy, should be elite. We're gonna find out at this point in the season. Both these teams could be sitting on the outside looking in, depending how it all goes offensively for them.
Week 15, Lions and Vikings. An NFC North grudge match, but not the one you usually think of.
No, let's see. Like I said, we don't. Depending on who the Vikings quarterback is, that's gonna tell the tale of what the Vikings do. They've got weapons. They've got receivers. It's just, can the quarterback get to them? And the Lions are talented all over the place. People have been trying to anoint them to the Super Bowl for the last 2-3 years, and they just can't do it. So is this the year they finally just get back to what they used to be and just you know scratch and claw their way and not try to worry about the outside noise and get it done? We don't know.
This one is a primetime game. I don't know if I ever thought that I'd see Jaguars and Cowboys. It's a
Ooh,
little bit of an odd one.
an interesting one. Yeah, it is. Could be fun. Lots of offense. Um, if you look at both these teams, Both of them could be positioning for a wild card. I don't know if the Jags can win their division. I think Houston. I would pick Houston just strictly on that defense. Cowboys. I don't know if they're ready yet, but if the Eagles slip far enough, the Cowboys could find themselves running the division. So I think it's both possible playoff teams at that point.
The next one, interesting, being your forecasting of a potential closing the window on Jalen Hurts' time, as well as the precarious situation the Niners find themselves in for this year and possibly next year. Eagles at Niners in Week 17, right at the doorstop of the end of the season.
Well, let's see. If the Eagles can, get their heads right and just play ball, they at this point they probably are leading they probably have the division. The Niners, like I said, there's two better teams in their division. At this point, I don't think they're any better than a wild card team. The Rams and the Hawks would have to literally just fall apart for the Niners to have that division. I just don't think they have enough weapons to match and go toe to toe with those teams. So it very well could be the Eagles just putting the finishing touches on another division title, and the Niners just holding on for dear life.
So when we go live for this game, whether at halftime or pregame, in about 7-ish months from now, are you going to be putting a feather in your cap and saying, I called it, that's the end of era A or that's the end of era B?
Wow, I don't know. It's if I was to sit, I'm sitting here right now. I'm saying it's. I would honestly think I'm closer to the end of the Niners era. I think the Eagles have an. The Eagles, like I said, would really have to screw the pooch for things to go crazy. Like I said, I think if things go bad in Philly, and bad, I think for them is like 9 wins, 9, 10 wins. And if there's enough rumblings, I think Sirianni gets bounced, but I think they keep Jalen. I think Hurts has built up enough equity where he's going to stay. Unless some team offers them the moon and the stars times two, Jalen Hurts is the guy. So I think it's the Niners. If the Niners stumble, barely go 9-8, and just look putrid, then yeah, I think. I honestly think John Lynch's job's on the line because they didn't exactly draft that well. So I think
Yeah.
you're going to start to hear rumbles about, hey, maybe it's Lynch or is it Shanahan? Who is it? But this isn't what we paid for. This team went from literally being in the Super Bowl almost every other year, even though they were getting bounced by the Chiefs, to now being just decent, like third in their division, probably not making the playoffs. So it'll be one way or the other. Someone's future is probably sealed by that game.
And nothing against future Hall of Famer Mike Evans, but when your prized off season possession is a mid 30s wide receiver, you obviously didn't hit the free agency market very well either.
No, and I think and yeah, when you've got a guy, and Mike still has stuff in the tank. There's no doubt. It's not from 5, 6 years ago, but at the same time, was the signing just to try to get one more year out of this group, or are you looking 3, 4 years? Because honestly, I don't know if Mike's got 3 or 4 more years of what he's done the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Is Purdy going to be healthy? He's been nicked up. Kittle for sure is. I don't think is going to be the same guy. And then you have to look at that defense. Fred Warner's going to start to slow down. You've got other guys. So this team, the Niners are built for now, but I don't know if they're good enough now.
Bash unit looking to continue another year, perhaps.
And if that's the case, it's time to strip it all down, get what you can, and rebuild it.
Week 18, of course, is TBD, as that will hold whatever is the most likely playoff precursor. All right,
Ooh.
let's rip through the Monday night schedule. And week one, I guess a question mark whether Patrick's going to be healthy, but at least it's not a doubleheader. No Monday night doubleheaders for once. And I guess that's probably a payoff to them, ESPN having the Super Bowl. So Broncos at Chiefs.
All depends on what Patrick is. He might have some nerve. or he might just come out trying to sling it. But the question is does he have the weapons? Yeah, you got the running back, but do you have the weapons? For Patrick to be able to sling it and have the magic. So it'll be interesting to see. But that Broncos defense is pretty.
Giants at Rams. That's an odd one. I understand the New York market, but it seems a little lopsided, even with the Giants' expectations and young talent.
Yeah, if they believe in themselves, why not go up against the team that many feel are going to be the NFC representatives? So we're going to see that Giants defense has gotten better, but can they go toe to toe with Matt Stafford in this offense? And can Jackson Dart do that?
Yeah. Uh, Eagles at Bears in week 3.
Wow, that's a nice one. I like that. Um, Eagles, new type of offense without AJ Brown, trying to figure things out. We've got Saquon. Saquon's got to be able to run the ball this year. They got to get back to that. Like I said with the Bears, it all comes down to Caleb. Has Caleb grown? Can he be the guy? Can he, he doesn't have to make the magical crazy throws, but he's got to be able to make the throws he's supposed to and lead this team.
I stand corrected with that Ravens Falcons game from earlier. I found your favorite primetime game of the season. Week 4, Monday night. Falcons at Saints. Be professional.
Be professional. You really wow. Okay. All right. Yep.
Not that I have any doubt that you won't, but just a gentle reminder.
Just a reminder, kids are watching. Okay, so it's the upstart Saints rebuilding. They think they found their quarterback of the future, and the supposed phenoms. There's the Falcons with the quarterback to be determined. Like I said, until we know who the quarterback is, the Falcons are kind of an incomplete team. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. I don't know, but that quarterback situation is not pretty.
Week 5, this is a potentially a sexy one. Maybe another potential Super Bowl preview. Bills at Rams.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Yeah. Um, Matt Stafford, on a mission and, repeat, this could be the last hurrah. So he's going to give it everything it's got. And Josh Allen, at this point, it's, when's it going to happen, Josh? Is it now? Is it never? But teams now, you got your MVP. You guys have the new stadium. You've been close to the promised land. You got to get it done. So this is a test for Buffalo. If they win this one, then people are going to start looking at them and saying, "Hey, no, they still are in the picture."
This is an interesting one. Washington at the 49ers. Week 6.
Yeah, I'm not.
Nothing. Yeah, I'm not getting much of a chub off that.
Yeah, it's okay. What are the Niners at this point? We'll see what they are offensively. First of all, if they're healthy, we'll see what they are. Washington, same thing. Daniels, is he healthy? What has the defense become? And can they score points and can they stop some points? So it's not bad. I don't think either one is a measuring stick for the other. I think they're both in the same kind of boat right now.
This is an interesting one, week 7, because the other matchup, I guess technically it'll be the second matchup, not the first, but Cowboys and Eagles. This one's in Philly, so the Thanksgiving game will be a matchup, and this is interesting that this matchup gets two prime slots, obviously on Thanksgiving, and then a Monday nighter.
It's Cowboys Eagles. That's prime time regardless. So this is the first time that the Cowboys get to look at the Eagles and say, hey, you know what, we're legit. Let's we're gonna go toe to toe for 60 minutes and see what happens. It'll be fun to see, but it's what are the Eagles now post AJ, and are the Cowboys ready? Have they done enough to take that next step?
Week 8, Bears at Seahawks.
Bears are going to look to see if they measure up and if they're, if they can handle the Super Bowl champs. Like I said so far about the Bears, they've got the pieces. They're a solid team. It's whether Caleb is ready to be that guy. That's what that comes down to. For the Seahawks, new offensive coordinator, are they still hungry? Have they eaten a little too much and now they're full and don't have the drive? Because you're going to get the best of every team. That's what happens when you're the hunted. So
Week 9. I'm surprised the Vikings are getting so much national love. Bills at Vikings.
no, geez. Well, another to be determined quarterback. Um, like literally every week it's like to be determined. Um, Depending on who the quarterback is, the Vikings, they still, solid defensive unit. Just offensively, what are we going to get? And Buffalo trying to prove to the world that they're a Super Bowl caliber team. So it'll be fun to see. I don't. I hope. If I knew who the quarterback was, I'd be like, okay, maybe this, maybe that. But
Yeah.
Buffalo is, their window's starting to close too. If anyone is sitting there trying to say that they've got another 6, 7 years of opportunity, I don't know. But you're in the prime time, more eyes are on you than anything. You got to make sure you're proving to the world that, hey, yeah, we're still here. We're still a viable option.
Yeah, a lot of TBD for the Vikings, and the Bills aren't a good opponent to have TBD against.
I don't know if primetime thinks Kyler's going to be the guy and they're going to be a little more exciting. I don't know.
Week 10, call it the Jesse Minter Bowl. Chargers at Ravens. Chargers go to visit their old DC.
Chargers or Ravens. Ooh, nice, nice. Um, Both teams, trying to prove that they're Super Bowl caliber. We've tried to anoint, the Ravens and they just can't do it. Regular season they look good, and then after that it just becomes a mess. The Chargers so up and down. This is their time. So both these teams right now are trying to prove not only to themselves but to the rest of the league that yeah, we're Super Bowl contenders.
Week 11, Bengals at Washington.
Do the Bengals have a defense at this point? That's the
Yeah.
question. That's the question. If the Bengals have an average defense, then they're a dangerous team. If they're
Does
only
Washington?
allowing, well, you're hoping Daniel stays healthy. Their defense comes together, like you said. The defense really fell apart last year. Um, like I said, they're probably the third best in their division right now. But if they catch a little hot streak, maybe they can make some noise. But both these teams are just trying to figure it out.
Week 12, a little bit of get back for how your division ended last year. Panthers at Bucks.
Oh, it's time to drop the hammer like Thor. It's time to get real. Um, Yeah, basically, if the division is knotted up and tight here, Tampa needs the game, and Todd's playing for his life. Like, let's be real here. If Tampa has another swoon like they had last year, you might as well just say see you later, Todd, and move on. Baker's playing for contract year for Baker. There's some interesting little storylines here. So it comes down to Tampa's got the potential. They just got to do it. Carolina side, fifth year for Bryce. If you want to be the man, you got to be the man. So we'll see what happens.
Interesting one in week 13. I can kind of call it the Tony Romo kicker holder bowl from several years back. Cowboys at Seahawks when he botched the field goal.
Oh yeah, I remember. Oh yeah. All right. So
I think
basically,
that
what
was
this?
against Seattle.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you might be right. Cowboys get to show if they're legit. The Seahawks should, be in the hunt for the division. Um, what a way to really show people that you're legit by beating the Super Bowl champ. If the Hawks just absolutely fall apart before then hey, it is what it is. The Cowboys get a win, but the Cowboys have got to show that they're ready to step up to the task. And the Seahawks have got to show that they're still hungry.
Oh, this is an interesting one because yet again, the Steelers with a primetime game, and this time they go down to Duval.
Um, Steelers, man, I don't. Quarterback to be determined. Yeah, at this point, I don't trust what the Steelers have. I think the Jags at that point will handle business. Um, unless they're barely holding on, and again, Steelers going for that coveted 9-8 position. The Jags, the Jags might be fighting fighting for the divisional lives, maybe wild card. But yeah, I'm not a real fan of that matchup.
This one, week 15. I'll be interested to know if this has lost a little bit of luster from years past. Patriots and Chiefs.
No, no, I still think it's got some juice because we don't know where the Chiefs are going to be.
Okay.
Are they holding on to a wild card spot? Are the Patriots the team to like end it for them, or have the Chiefs caught on a little bit of a run because the rest of that division for some reason forgot how to play football and brain farted, and next thing you know the Chiefs are like you know leading the division by 2 games or some funky weird thing like that. The Chiefs are just going to be the interesting story throughout the year because Patrick coming back from injury and what is this offense going to be? So if it's a situation where New England might be fighting for their lives too, so this could be two teams looking at wild card positioning.
And this is a funky one in week 16. Giants at Lions. Where'd this come from?
Dang man, you have a deep. Hey, give the Giants credit. They're putting it together. I just don't know. I don't know if it's a primetime game, but okay. Giants, like I said, they've got defensive pieces. The offense could be something special. There's still grumblings about, OBJ signing with the Giants. As long as, Neighbors is healthy, they can run the ball. It's going to be interesting to see what the Giants do. They're going to be that young team that's got some flash, and everyone's like, I want to see what they can do. I just at that point, I think they're probably still last in the division, but they're going to be competitive, so they could be fighting for third place.
And the final Monday nighter, because of course we do not play Monday night in week 18, week 17, a matchup late in the year. So perfect timing to see for teams to assess if their franchise quarterbacks are the right guy to continue to hitch their wagons to. Texans at Packers.
Ooh. Well, we know the Packers have their guy, so that's pretty much what it is. Depending where the Texans are, yeah, this could be the swan song for CJ Stroud. Or, if they've got the division wrapped up, maybe he doesn't play and we see, somebody else taking some snaps. But yeah, this very well could be, there could be a 1 game difference in the division. They need the game. So they may have to sit there and hope and pray CJ, can deliver a masterpiece to win it out. The Packers, that division is so crazy. I don't know. Like you could make a case for a couple of those teams in that division. I don't know if anyone runs away with that division, but both teams, again, another week where two teams could be playing for their playoff lives.
Let's wrap up the show with something of a little fun. A good tradition of at least the last year are these hype videos that teams do to announce their schedules. So I'm not gonna lie, my Colts and your Bucks both put out ace videos, but I think there's one that took the crown in your eyes.
Yes, yes. You always want to root. You always want your team, and you want to say they had the best video. And I believe me, I love the Tampa Bay, Baywatch bit. That was great. But the Chargers again. The Chargers the last couple of years have been incredible, and with the ode to Halo, steal the show. Anyone who knows us knows that for years Halo was our game of choice. Many people fought, many people got angry. Friendships almost ended over this game. Many a time, people have walked out of houses, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, Halo was the thing that brought us all together. And if you have not seen this yet, get on the internet, look it up. Brought a tear to my eye, music and all. Just like I want to play some Halo right now. I just want to get in on it.
Yeah. Well, Bucks McGee, that is the schedule release show. Sir, take us off here with your final thoughts as we prep ourselves to be excited for 2026, the road to the Super Bowl.
Oh man, this is good stuff, man. Now it feels like football. Like, you go through the draft and all that fun stuff, but now I've got a schedule, I've got dates, I'm feeling it. It's every team feels that they're a Super Bowl contender. We all know it's not a truth, it's a lie, but that's okay. We get to live that lie up until kickoff in September. If you don't like the schedule, it's okay. Sometimes some surprises. If your team's got an easy schedule, be careful, man. That sometimes that fool's gold. But either way, football's back and the countdown to September begins.